Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Of course, if you have seen my previous video, which is my intro video, then you would know that I said in that video I was going to do a video on how I became my mother's personal care aide. So these are the 10 things that you need to know that would be very informative for you before you take the process or in that process, so you know the next steps. So let me get into this video with you guys. Okay, the first thing that the person that is receiving Medicaid, they will have to get in contact with their caseworker and let them know that they'll want their loved one to be their caseworker, to be their personal care aide. Like for me, for instance, my mom had told her caseworker she wanted her daughter to become her personal care aide. So that was when, and now we up to step 2. That was when the caseworker had contacted Consumer Direct and they started the paperwork process for that information, because she's on Medicaid. Basically, you have to be on Medicaid to become your loved one's personal care aide. We at number 3 now. Once they get the paperwork, the quickest way to get the paperwork process started is to fill out the paperwork and fax it. If you was to mail it, it does take, they say, up to 5 to 7 business days. So if you was to like mail it out on a Wednesday, they probably won't get it until that Tuesday or that Wednesday of that following week, because mail sometimes don't move on Sunday. So it's no mail delivery on Sunday. So they won't get it on their desk until either Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. And if it's a holiday in there. Also, that's the fastest way, is the fax. Step 4. With this process, and once you start the paperwork, you will have to go through a background check. And in Virginia, when I did my background check, it was $25. So you have to send in also a $25 money order. It's independent background check. I think it's through your local state that they have a background check that they do, that they charge social services for the $25 fee that they get from you to get the process started. So it's really being sent to your local state police department, and then they would tell that information to social services. Also, while all this paperwork process is going on and you filling out the paperwork, signing your life away on like 25 sheets, different sheets you have to fill out, which is, you will be the attendant, and your consumer will have to fill out, which would be the person that is requesting for you to become your attendant, which is their personal care aide. Basically, the agency will reach out to you and come out and schedule an appointment with the consumer. You have to be there to attend it, that way that person can meet you. Once this process is going on, that person will then become your service facilitator. The service facilitator basically handles the Medicaid paperwork to put in the documents, and this is basically how you get paid. But that's coming up in another step. Once that person becomes your service facilitator, they make appointments with the consumer every 30, 60, or 90 days. It depends on the health of that individual. Also, while they in that conversation that they having with the consumer. They asking questions like, when was the next doctor's appointment? When was their last doctor's appointment? Whether or not their medication has changed, been reduced or induced, or have they been taken off that medication? And also whether or not that how their health has been whether it's approved with the medicine or the medicine's not working and they're getting bad. That's basically what their job is, to keep your file up to date. The way they could continue getting the services for social services through the Virginia, because I live in Virginia, through the Virginia Medicaid Assistant Services. So it's basically the Department of, Department of Medical Assistant Services. So whatever state you live in, they're the one that pay you. But I'm getting to that part. Step 6, depending on the state that you live in, you do have to have a phone, of course. It's an app that you have to clock in and clock out from. That's how you make your money. You clock in and out through an app that works through public partnership. Public partnership is what pays you. They basically get the authorization from the insurance for that person that is your consumer. Like, for instance, my mother is on Anthem Health Keepers. So they would have to, so public partnership process, it takes 2 days for it to process. By the 3rd day, your paycheck should be good to pay. But they have to verify. And that's how you get paid once they go through the process of you submitting your timesheet. The consumer has to approve it or deny it. And then if it's approved, it goes through the 2-day process. A reason why it takes 2 days, because they have to verify. And then it'd be good to pay by the 3rd day. So, for instance, the city that I live in, or the area that I'm in, it starts from Friday. Gotta be in by 5 p.m. And normally, when you submit it by 5 p.m., it normally be verified and processed through by, I want to say Tuesday, because they all open for a short period of time on Saturday until 12. But the business day, it would be that Friday afternoon, and then Monday, and then by that Tuesday, by the closing business day, it will be processed through already. So by Wednesday, it should be saying good to pay. For Virginia, the app is called Time for Care. With this app, you have to clock in and clock out at your consumer's location. You cannot clock in and clock out at a store, at a gas station, or your way there, because they track you on your phone. They just started this in September of 2019. At first, it was timesheets that people would fax in or mail in. But they started all this before COVID. So they started this September of 2019. And once you get the hang of it, you have to get used to clocking in and clocking out. That's how you clock in and clock out, like a regular job. Public partnership also handle, like if you need them, like if you're receiving assistance also through social services, if they need verification for your income, or either that for public housing, you have to contact public partnership, and I think you gotta send them the fax number for that company, or for social service. Yeah, even for social services. But social services, they get the it's not really with social services, but public housing, that's what I meant. They will require you to fill out an income verification if you first applying. So you will contact public partnership and they would fax it to them. They would fill it out and then they will send it back. So that's how that is also handled. Just so you know, in case anybody wants to know, that's how you get your income verification. If you're not working through an actual agent, like an actual agency that you go and get your patient information from. Your consumer is your boss. So basically you're the attendant. You also get paid for respite hours. So if you want to go in on Saturday, if you want to go in on Sunday, you can. But they no longer pay overtime. They stopped doing that also in 2000, after August of 2016. They stopped doing that. So yeah, depending on the hours that your consumer is approved for, that's the amount of hours that you could get. Like mine is 60 hours. And respite hours, it cannot go over 80 hours. If it's over 80, they would not give you those hours. They will only give you part of it. They won't give you all of it. That's how public partnership is. They won't let you get, like, if let's say, like, if your paycheck, if altogether your hours equal up to close to 80 hours, you will not get paid for an hour or 2 hours. They will not pay it. The closest that I've done has been only 78, or 77 is the highest. If it's anything higher than 78 hours, you will not get paid for it. And that's another thing too. Those minutes, you will not get paid for that either, because sometimes that does not even make the paycheck. Let's see. Step number 7 now. I know y'all wondering, well, how long does the paperwork process go through? You didn't get to that yet, Pam. It takes about a month for everything to go through, from the background check to you getting the paperwork back to them taking their time, processing it, reaching out to finding you a service facilitator, the agency, all of that. By the time you got a whole bunch of hands. So once Consumer Direct get it, then they send it to an agency. Then once that agency get it, then they was give it to the service facilitator. Then that service facilitator would make their appointment, and then they would come out to do the assessment and ask questions about the health, find out about the medications they take, that basic steps. So it's just like it goes from one person to another person to another person. And then but they'll give you, like, if you there, like me, like for example, I started on May 26th of 2016. I did not get my first check until July 8th. So that's how long it took. That's even with Memorial Day in that process. So that kind of like helped me back a little bit too. But the good part about it is you do get paid all the back pay from the time you started till the date that you will receive your first check. You do receive back pay. That right there, you do get those hours. I can say that. I know it's a lot. We're not getting paid right away, but trust me, trust the process. Let everything process through, because at the end, you will get one lump sum for your first check. And then after that, it would be your regular check with your hours on it. Next, next thing I wanted to say, step number 8. Anybody that's any age you could be a personal care aide for or attendant for. Whether they are a child, I've seen on the face, that's another thing I'm about to get to. I have seen that a child that is disabled, that can't do hardly nothing for themselves. Their parent is their they have it down as a live-in attendant. So they would get paid for taking care of that person. Or with that, they would get one of their family members to take care of that child. It's something like that. I might have it wrong, but it can be any age, just as young as a child, basically, if they receive Medicaid. Next, a person that's disabled, unable to take care of themselves, meaning they're unable to get up and take their own shower. They're unable to get up and use the bathroom without assistance. They're unable to make meals by themselves. That type of thing. A person that's disabled can become a person that carries to them as well. Next is also the main one, the elderly. Whether it be your mother, your father, even the grandparents, your great-grandparents, your aunt that's unable to take care of herself, your uncle that's not able to take care of himself. These are the people that it takes really. Strangers are the worst people. Some strangers are the worst people to come out for a few hours to take care of your loved one. Where you could be there taking care of your loved one, also spending time with them, because life is too short. Anything can happen. And it's a win-win situation. They're getting the services and getting what they need, and you also spending time with your loved one. So that's step number 8. Step number 9. There is a Facebook group out. I think it's called Medicaid Waiver Consumer Direct. That's what it's called on Facebook. And you could, up there, you will see people post about their experience. You got some people that ask questions and other people comment on their experience. It's a really good, informative Facebook group to be a part of. For those that think that they are out there by themselves, they're not. I read stories up there that touched my heart, especially when it's got something to do with a child. So do your research, but that Facebook group will really help you, because it's certain things up there that they would put out there that you will not know right away until you go to that Facebook group and look at it, read the posts, and find out what other people experience is from. Depending on your area also. Like if you live in South Carolina, try to find somebody that's in South Carolina that's experiencing what you're experiencing. Not somebody that live in like Virginia, because every state has different steps and policies on how they handle the consumer direct. Is still one type of consumer direct, but it's different steps and policies on how they handle everything. And the last and most importantly least, step number 10, for those that's wondering, you do not get gas or mile reimbursement. So from, let's say like if you live 30 minutes away from them, you do not get reimbursed. You don't get reimbursed to coming from going all the way to work to coming home. You don't get reimbursed for none of that. You don't get reimbursed either if you have to take them out to run in some errands, or if you want to be nice to take them out and treat them to lunch. You don't get gas reimbursement for that at all. But it is, Consumer Direct is good. It's a good program. I recommend everybody and anybody to be their loved ones that is disabled, or whether that have health issues, to become their personal care aide. Because strangers out here, some of them are verbally abusive, or some of them don't be feeding them. It depends on the situation. Not saying everybody's like that, but some people are like that. That's why it's best for you to be your significant, not even your significant other, but it's best to be your loved one's caregiver. That about wraps up my 10 steps on how to become your loved one's personal care aide. I get paid through the Department of Medical Assistant Services. If you have any more questions, drop it down below. I will answer it to my ability. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.